Let me ask your honest opinion on something. What do you think is inside of the pre-rolls from the dispensary? Do you think they use the best quality buds, the biggest buds, and ground them all up and put them in the pre-rolls? Or do you think they use something else? Well, this is probably one of those things not a lot of people think about. You just go to the dispensary and you get some joints, right? They probably just roll them up that day, right? Something that I learned years ago is that most pre-rolls are filled with trash. They have weed inside of them. They have stuff inside of them that you wouldn't smoke in a bowl. You wouldn't put it in your pipe and light it up. You would look at it and go, what the fuck is this? Now, I'm not saying every dispensary puts trash in their pre-rolls, but fucking most of them do. Have you ever opened a pre-roll? How good was the weed in there? Some of them are better than others. Some of them just end up being older. Some places, when I was in Colorado, when I first moved to Colorado, some places were putting trim and sugar leaf in joints and selling them for $1. And when you busted them open, you would go, there's no bud in here. It's just sugar leaf. Wait, you don't follow me on Twitch? You don't join me every night for my smoke sesh on Twitch? What are you doing? You're literally missing out. Now, what really opened my eyes to this is my time working in a dispensary. I just did a video about my first day working at the dispensary, and it reminded me of the day that I just rolled so many joints that I had to kind of break down my experience. So at one of the dispensaries I worked at, we made our own pre-rolls. There are some companies out there that make premium pre-rolls. They put good quality stuff in there, but most in-house dispensary pre-rolls, where all the flour comes from that little shop, they usually don't end up putting the good buds in there. Why would you? You can just sell the buds as they are. So what happened at the dispensary I worked at is when we needed to collect shake, or when we were a little bit slow, you would take all the jars. We had these big 4-ounce jars that we used to hold most of the weed. And what you would do is you would take the jars. If you were slow, if there's no customers in there, you'd take the jars and you pour them on this big old screen. Just like a big wooden square with a screen in it. Nice big holes so it would catch the big buds. If you had tiny little popcorn buds, they'd fall through. And I would just take this screen, put it over a container, and I'd pour all the buds in it, about 3 or 4 ounces, whatever was in the jar, and dump all the shake out. We would try to keep the shake separately, the sativa shake, the indica shake, but we really didn't do strain-specific shake all the time. There were some times where there's just a bunch of shake from one batch of flour, and somebody would roll joints, and then we'd call it, hey, these are Blue Dream joints if you want that. Otherwise, you're getting sativa or indica joints, because it'll be a blend or a mix. There's nothing really wrong with that. Some places use shake for joints. I don't think that that's the bad part. In some cases, shake can have more trichomes, more THC than the actual bud. There are instances where you're just getting little tiny buds to follow, you're getting all the trichomes to fall off, and sometimes shake can test higher than the actual bud that you got it from. Well, this isn't the part that weirded me out or grossed me out or opened up my eyes. It seemed pretty standard. It was when I was going to fill up the bags where they stored the shake, and let me explain this to you exactly how I saw it. Huge gallon bags. It was bigger than a gallon. I think it was like a 3-gallon Ziploc. It was a huge Ziploc bag. They had 3 of them. They had one that said sativa, one that said indica, one that said hybrid, okay? They put me in charge of rolling the joints one day. I go to collect the shake, and then once I have it collected, they're like, you can roll joints with the shake, and all the rest of it you can load up in a bag, and we can use that for later. And they had the bag set aside for when it was slow and you needed a lot of joints to roll. Well, the place that I worked at had the weirdest setup. The bags were all full. I found out that when people had leftover shake, they would just dump whatever shake was left over on top of the rest of the shake that was in there. They were top loading, essentially. So all the older shake was just sitting at the bottom. They were just layering the new shake on top of the older shake, and you could tell the shake at the bottom was old. Okay, I'm looking at this, I'm like, Jesus, it just looks ancient. And this was back in 2015. I found on one of the bags was a date written in Sharpie when they started filling it up. 2012, 3 years prior. They had started this shake bag 3 years ago. I was new, so I'm like concerned. I'm asking the people there, do you guys just always top load it? You always just put the new shake on top of the old? Does that old shake ever get shaken in there, mixed up a little bit, or dumped out? Every other employee there described to me that the shake on the bottom was definitely 3 years old. We didn't sell a lot of pre-rolls, even when we did dollar pre-rolls. We just had a weird balance of too much shake, and nobody really paid attention to it. The pre-rolls were $1, so it's not like you're making a ton of money off of them, so you didn't really care. And when you're selling them for that cheap, they're not flying off the shelves because people know what's in them. After I experienced the dispensary I was working at was selling some pretty trash pre-rolls, some pre-rolls filled with potentially 2 or 3 year old shake, I started to do a little bit of investigating. Most places would give you like a free joint with a purchase or a 99-cent joint. It's not hard to get joints in Colorado. If you're getting like a pack of them or premium ones, you can kind of count on them being better, but if it's an in-house joint, you know it's going to be trash. I was curious. I went and I checked out a lot of dispensaries, you know? I'd make sure to get a pre-roll every time. I didn't really smoke joints. I don't really like to smoke papers that much if you've seen my video on it. So I'd get the joints usually and I'd bust them open and load a bowl. So I did this a few times, few different places. Every joint, every pre-roll that I opened that wasn't like a premium one was bad. There was stems in it. You could tell it was like mostly shake. Some places you could tell they were using trim in there. Bro, infused pre-rolls. There was one brand of premium Moon Rock pre-rolls. They were pretty good, but a lot of places that had in-house infused pre-rolls and a lot of the infused pre-rolls I saw, you bust them open and the oil inside is black. They would just hide whatever shitty oil, whatever shitty flour they could inside a paper, hoping you didn't rip it open. It's actually wild to me. It might be one of the other reasons I'm not a huge fan of joints. Obviously, you can roll them yourself or whatever, but I feel like you're just going to get higher putting all that weed into a bong anyway. So I'm not the biggest fan of joints. I did like that Moonrock brand of joints that I mentioned. I think it was called Caviar Kings. They were around Colorado for a little while. I used to get a sick deal on their joints. They were like $5 a joint because this place randomly had a $15 off coupon that they applied to their $20 Moonrock joints. So I just go get them for $5. That was hard to pass for me. But time and time again, I have been disgusted by what I've seen inside of a joint paper. It's something that kind of turns me off from them. I do have an idea for a video here where I might go to a few different dispensaries and just bust open their pre-rolls and show you what's on the inside. But I think YouTube hates that content. I don't think I can really show the actual weed. We'll see. We're applying for monetization soon, so hopefully they get your boy paid. Either way, if you have a good source on some pre-rolls and they're putting some premium flour in there, you don't got to worry about it. Good for you. I'm kind of avoiding pre-rolls. I'm probably going to smoke some here or there, but I know I'm going to be suspect of what's inside. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to hear more about why I don't like joints, you should check out this video. Appreciate you chilling. Have a lit day.